I've always wanted to build a chessboard, and the forecast for the next few days is rainy. So I'm going to start working on it. I'm using walnut on this chessboard, and it's going to be a resin pour chessboard. Here I am planing the walnut, getting it to the size I need, and then I'm going to cut them out into the squares I need. For this build, I'm using super clear tabletop epoxy resin. Just make sure you stir it enough, otherwise you'll run into problems. Get your ratios correct and you'll be fine. Here I am filling up the frame where I will put these squares on here in a minute. This epoxy resin is self-leveling, but make sure you have a level surface to work on. This isn't the exact order other people build it, but this is the way I chose to build it. I have about 1/4 inch of epoxy resin built up, and then I'm gonna use a quick drying 10-minute JB weld to adhere these squares onto the epoxy. Only reason is because I didn't have any CL glue at the time. I'm using some mica pigment to color this. I'm using think of like mother of pearl, a white glittery look for the light squares. So far we have about 1/2 inch built up. I was a little worried about taking this off because I've never done this before. I was hoping not to break it, and it came out pretty nice. Here I am sanding the epoxy, just roughing it in, and getting ready for the next step of laying it inside the frame. I'm also using walnut for the frame, and this is what I'm doing now. I'm cutting the miters for the frame and getting ready to drop the chessboard in. Here I'm cutting the letters and numbers along the edge of the chessboard. Here I'm flooding the frame with more epoxy resin. This is just a little bit bigger than the walnut frame I made to go around the chessboard, so when this is done, we'll trim this to size to fit inside the walnut frame. Here I'm just using a little butane torch to pop the bubbles. After the first layer set up, I add another layer here until it gets tacky, and then I'll lay the chessboard in it. Now that the epoxy is tacky, I'm laying the chessboard in, I'll clamp it in position and let it dry. Don't forget this crucial step. Pay attention, the bubbles will come out a little bit, and these torches or a heat gun will take them out right away. Probably the most fun of this project was what to do around the border. So my wife and I came up with some broken glass, green, blue, and brown beer bottle glass, some coins, and some odds and ends that a guy would just carry in his pocket that we threw in there. We think it looks pretty neat. However, you can put anything in there. I was thinking about nuts and bolts and BBs and bearings and stones and seashells, you name it. You can put it in there for artistic decoration. Now that it's all adhered into the frame, we have all the glass in there and all what we want in for the artwork. Here I'm mixing up a little lime green or a turquoise type green epoxy to dump around it. You don't really see the green once it's cured, but we just wanted it a little bit tinted. We do this in 1/4 inch lifts. You don't want to go much more than that. 1/4 inch is good to work with, so after 48 hours, I'm going to flood it again until it's level. Here we are taking off the mold, the outside frames, and we're about 3/4 of an inch thick now to 1 inch thick total. So I'm going to be a little careful trying to get this off of the frame. The frame is used lined with like masking tape, not masking tape, scotch tape, packaging tape, so epoxy doesn't stick to it. Success. I can't tell you how happy I am to see this come off without breaking and looking pretty good, to be honest with you. I did trim the epoxy to square size, and now I'm just routing around the edge to make a nice perfect fit for the frame. Sanding, I started at 80, then 120 grit, then we finish at 220 grit. And then we'll stick it in the frame and flood it. I have the epoxy resin all secured inside the frame now with the chessboard. I'm just wiping it down with some acetone. One, it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like, but two, it cleans all the particles off of it and preps the epoxy for the next pour. So I think we got about a 1/4 inch to come up here now, and this thing's just about done. Again, keep a heat source like a torch or a butane lighter or even a heat gun close by where you can pop the bubbles. Another flood coat to get it level with the top now. Everything has been sanded out. Now it's just time to do the frame and get ready for the final finish. The final finish will be Danish oil on the wood and a spray lacquer or polyurethane gloss over the epoxy. I do have the spray urethane over the top of the epoxy now, and now I'm applying Danish oil to the wood. Here, my wife and I are installing some LED lights that will really make this thing pop. I am so pleased with the outcome and how this thing looks. Hopefully you'll enjoy it as well, and maybe this will inspire you to build one as well.